It's really hard to get on Netflix. It is. Today, we're gonna talk about how to get on Netflix. Netflix has really skyrocketed as one of the highest streamed services in the world. If you're an aspiring actress, you're probably wondering, how can I get on the biggest streaming platform in the world? Carefully, easily. In this video, you will learn how to get on Netflix with or without speaking roles. If you don't want any speaking roles, you actually go on Backstage or casting networks. You can really just directly apply to be an extra or a background actor. And like I've said in my How to Be an Actor video, if you haven't seen it, link down below, I don't see anything wrong with wanting to do background work. Every time you see someone on TV and they're in the background, they were paid to be there. If you don't feel like you trust the internet, which is totally fine, hit up an agency that specializes in getting extras. So for me, when I first started out and I was doing extra work, I went with Central Casting because they are in New York, they're in LA, and I think they're in the South as well. But if you don't have that luxury, again, casting networks and Backstage are nationwide. You can find a lot of background work and a lot of it is on Netflix. But you want to speak, right? Ooh, if you're an actor, aspiring actress, and you actually want to speak in the scene, I got 5 steps for you. The first thing I would do is make sure I have representation. Yes, representation is very important, especially when it comes to streaming platforms. Netflix is not going to hire someone who says they know how to act without any representation. It's just way too risky. Unless you know that showrunner personally, or you know it's a family member that's making that show, you're not gonna get on the show just because you know how to act and you just so happen to not have an agent. Unfortunately, that's just not how the industry works. They also don't care the reason why you don't have an agent. Just get one. Yeah. That's why some people believe that having an agent is better than having no agent. Even if the agency may not be as prestigious or as big, but the fact that you're signed does give you a level up in the industry. If you don't know what an agent is or a manager or what they actually do, agents and managers are literally the middleman for you to get prestigious acting gigs. Production companies are reaching out to other people in the industry, casting directors, producers, studios, but they're not directly reaching out to individuals. When looking for an agent, read the reviews. Definitely think about where your career is and where it's going and if it intertwines with where you want to be before signing. Because when you sign to an agency, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm signed and now I'm gonna get all these jobs. What happens is that now you're on a contract. Within 1 to 2 years, you can decide whether you want to stay with that agency or they will be like, hey, you know what, this is not working. We're gonna pull the plug on this. Anyway, if you want to be on Netflix, you need an agent. Second thing, you need a reel. Why is reel not number 1? Well, because you're not even gonna be taken seriously if you have that reel and you try to go be on Netflix. They'll be like, who is this person? Your reel is just an accumulation of work that you've done over your career. And it's supposed to be highlighting your best work. Here's just real tip. Try not to be so, 1, boring, and 2, outlandish. What I mean by that, boring is you started your reel with a scene where you're not the first thing they see. That's boring. They're already like, who are we looking at? What are we talking about? Or having someone else have the first line. That's, ooh, don't do it. Second one, too outlandish. Listen, unless it's P-Valley, I wouldn't recommend putting stripper number 2 in your reel. Unless that is your type, don't put such provocative or alarming type of media in there because your reel should be 2 minutes, but they're only gonna watch like 20 seconds. If all they can see is like body or someone else, they're gonna click off. A good reel should be short, sweet, and no longer than 3 minutes and highlight your range as an actor. And again, your reel is a compilation of your best performances in TV, movies, and not theater plays. I cannot stress that enough because they're not trying to see you live. I know this is also weird and hard and so specific, and this is an opinion, but I think this is a popular opinion. Theater plays should stay live and not captured in your reel unless it's literally Broadway. A third step, I used to do this all the time. Keep your eye out on casting calls and casting auditions because, you know, sometimes your agent can't do it all. They're gonna send you an audition or 2 or 3 or 4 a week. Maybe they miss 1 or 2. So you can keep an eye out for shows that you think that you can do. For example, one time I was just looking through Actors Access. I saw an audition that I really wanted to do, but I don't think that my agent saw that I wanted to do this, so I submitted myself. It's really hard to get on Netflix. It is. So just a slither of a chance of a point of a time, you have the opportunity to, I say go for it. Next step I would recommend is to audition. You finally get to audition for Netflix because you got an agent, you got a reel, and they're impressed. They're like, we possibly want you on our show. Oh, snap. This part is the hard part. What you think is one audition can turn into 4, which is what has always happened to me. Just because there are 4 auditions doesn't mean that you are close. For me personally, I thought both. When I had to, kept auditioning for the same thing, I'm like, oh my God, do they not like me? I'm like, oh wait, they really like me. And then nothing ended up happening. Or weeks later, I got booked. So now I just know that's just part of the process. For the audition, dress appropriately, okay? Be confident, but not arrogant. Again, if you want an audition video, I could really... Auditioning is just something that you're just constantly learning. Every single time, like, you learn something else, you learn something new. So to say that I mastered auditioning, I wouldn't say I mastered it, but I'm very good at them at this point in my career. During your audition, be willing to take direction from the casting director. Because I know so much of us are so ambitious and we're so gung-ho on doing it correctly that we choose a way that we're gonna do the audition, and then we do it, and then like, cool, now try to do it like this. And then we just, and then we repeat the same thing we just did. Big streaming platforms like Netflix that have the pull of other studios, they're going to tell you to do it again, and they're also gonna give you feedback. You have to learn to listen to that and then do it. Theater made it so much easier to hear the feedback and then just do it because you have to. Attend the audition, be confident, not arrogant, have your reel ready, you already have your agent, you're good to go. Whatever happens, happens. It is what it is. And so now, my 5th thing I would suggest for you to do is to follow up. I am actually the worst with this. I guess I'm afraid of rejection. Are you afraid of what? Yes, I'm afraid of rejection, and I'm an actor. When you follow up for auditions like Netflix, I guess it's still very intimidating to me, but it actually is very beneficial for you, for your development and your career, to give thank you notes. Maybe not directly to that studio, but to your agent and manager. Be like, hey, here's a thank you note for them. I would like to, follow up on how I did. Were there any notes? Did they say anything? Because sometimes they say stuff. And your agent might not tell you. It may be positive feedback, it might be negative feedback. I'm gonna start asking, but I really don't want to. It's very good to ask. I wouldn't ask every time. I would only ask if it's like a huge studio. NBC, ABC, CBS, something like that. Netflix, Hulu. If you get one audition for Netflix, you're gonna get another one probably, because they've seen you before. And if you actually do well, they'll be like, we'll get another shot. All right, another shot, another shot, another shot. Even if you might not get the role, following up is very beneficial to your career development, and your career relationship with your agent, as well as that studio. It might put you at the top of their list. In conclusion, to be on Netflix, you need representation, you need a professional reel of your best performances, you need to walk in that room and be confident at the audition, but not arrogant, and then follow up enthusiastically but professionally about how you did. Sounds easy, right? Hopefully you could do it now. Mini story time. I'm gonna tell you guys how I got on Netflix, and then I'm gonna show you the clip of me on Netflix. One day, I was auditioning for something totally different, something totally new, something completely out of this world. My agent hit me up and was like, hey, we don't usually do this, but we're gonna have you audition to be a body double. It's giving extra. But I was like, okay, sure. As soon as I get the information for the audition, it was for someone who doesn't look like me and who doesn't have the same hair texture as me. So I'm like, oh, I'm totally not gonna get this. Like 100% not. When I was doing the audition, that was one of the first questions I asked, because they were telling me, oh, you gotta do this. I had to dance, y'all. I had to do a lot. I had to do the most. They asked me, what's your availability? I thought they were just being nice, because I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna get this. I look totally different. It was a very interesting experience, and I really appreciated it, and I thanked everyone that was on the call, because I'm like, hey, they could be anywhere in the world with anybody, and they're here with me. Like, I obviously didn't get the role. It was a good gig. It was a very good gig. 4 figures a week, 3-month gig. And I was like, man, I wish I looked like that person, but I don't. Didn't get the gig, which is fine. I was totally fine, totally expected it. But what I didn't expect was that the actual director of that episode of the show reached out to my agency again. They just direct booked me for a one-liner in Step Up 3. And I was like, what? To me, that meant, oh wow, I know how to audition. They already know that I know how to act. No audition required. So then I get to do the show and it was so much fun. Everyone was so nice and the food was delicious. I really, really, really was so grateful that the director was so nice. It just proves, like I said, networking works. I'm gonna show you guys the clip now and yeah.
What's your name, sweetheart?
Alexandria.
Okay. Get that title on it to the school of
No, I'm actually really, really proud of my one line because it took a lot for me to get that one liner. It did. It took a certain agency, a certain connect, and a certain time frame for that to happen. There are no small roles, only small actors. Yeah. If you like this video and want to see more videos, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you